Hong Kong is nicknamed the Pearl of the Orient. They also call it Asia's World City, and for good reason. And as you can see behind me, that is the beautiful Hong Kong skyline overlooking Victoria Harbor. And you know, looking at the skyline, you can see that Hong Kong is very prosperous. It's very developed. There's a lot of money here, but a lot of people don't really understand how Hong Kong became Hong Kong, modern day Hong Kong. And when I travel, when I learn about different places, I try to learn about the history of it, because then I can appreciate it more if I understand why you know, a place is what it is, and why the people are like they are. And to give you a little bit of history about Hong Kong, it started back during the 1800s, during the Opium Wars. And what it was the British East India Company that actually was one of the earliest drug cartels. They were pushing opium into China, and Hong Kong was a port that they were able to conveniently push the drugs into the Chinese mainland under the Qing dynasty. And opium was already a problem in China before it became an epidemic with the British East India Company with their trade. And so the Qing dynasty, the emperor, what he did was they boycotted the British imports, not just opium, but a lot of the other goods that were being traded, you know, silk and gunpowder and all of that stuff. There was a boycott for you know, British goods, and of course that didn't fly very well with the British monarchy, and they went to war. They had the Opium Wars, and after the first Opium War, Hong Kong Island was ceded to the British, and it was during the Victorian era, you know, Queen Victoria, that's why they call it Victoria Harbor. And so after the second Opium War, which was in the late 1800s, it was about, I want to say it was July 1st, 1898, there was a 99-year lease, not just Hong Kong Island, but the Kowloon territory and the new territories and Lantau Island were all ceded to the British. Okay, and that was a 99-year lease that they had, which eventually, if you remember, just 20 years ago, this is the 20-year anniversary, okay, of the handover. It was at the July 1st, 1997, the Hong Kong Convention and Exhibition Center is where they had the Chinese president and premier, and then they had Tony Blair for the British along with Prince Charles. You can watch it on YouTube, called The Handover. Just type it into the search. The Handover, it's about 10 minutes. You can catch all the best scenery, the clips from that ceremony. You can actually see it in the background, but not very well because it's way, way back there. Anyway, Hong Kong is about 7.2 million people. It's fourth most densely populated country or territory in the world, and you know, it's a major finance, economic, travel hub. It's you know, they speak English, obviously, because of the British influence, and there's something here for everybody in Hong Kong. It's just a wonderful place. It is expensive. It's a shopper's paradise, like Kuala Lumpur was when I did that video, and I explained that. So there is the IFC shopping mall, which they have like one of the biggest Apple stores in the world, along with a lot of other shops that you can take advantage of, and just a huge shopping mall. There's several malls here. Transportation, you've got the MTR, you've got the big bus, hop on, hop off tours. I took the the Peak tram to get up here, way up here. This is the best view of Hong Kong you could possibly get. Check that out. Okay, now Hong Kong has they have a one country, two systems philosophy that they abide by, because after the handover occurred on July 1st, 1997, the PRC, the Chinese government, agreed to give Hong Kong 50 years for transition. Okay, so it wouldn't mess up their system that they had. It would have really had a horrible ripple effect had the Chinese come in and impose their state-run laws, you know, in Hong Kong. That would have really messed things up really bad. Not just for Hong Kong, but for the rest of the world. Everybody's got a stake in Hong Kong, you know, especially the Europeans. So they are independently and actively involved in APEC and the World Trade Organization. And there's a lot of poverty in Hong Kong, along with a lot of wealth, which you don't hear a lot about. Okay, but there's a lot of poverty here. But this is a beautiful place. It's wonderful. I try to get down here once a month, and I want to see as much of it as I possibly can while I'm still in Asia, because I won't be able to conveniently fly 2 hours down here from Wuhan like I do once a month. So anyway, if you get a chance, fly to Hong Kong. There's a lot of non-stop direct flights from Europe and from Australia and from the United States. Several different hubs you can fly out of. It's a wonderful place. Come check it out, give it a look, and make sure you have some money with you, because you're going to need it. If you want to enjoy it to the fullest, you're going to need some money. Okay? And at the airport you can pick up SIM cards, MTR cards, the Octopus Card, and all the information you need is at the airport and online. And of course I'll post some information about that on my blog along with this video. And come check out Hong Kong. It's a wonderful place.